and happy first day of spring. It's March 20th, and I am going to cook chili for you today. Now, this may seem weird that it's the first day of spring and I'm making chili, but we still have snow on the ground outside. It snowed another 6 inches. We're supposed to be getting more snow later this week. And my kids started lacrosse practice, and they're outside practicing in like 38 degrees, and by the time they get home at 6:15 or so, they are frozen little popsicles. So I wanted to have a nice pot of chili bubbling away in the crock pot for them when they get home. So this is a super simple recipe. It's a heart-healthy chili, so it uses ground turkey instead of beef. So I have the ingredients laid out over here. This is everything you need to make that. Package of ground turkey. I like the 98% lean. You need 1/2 of a chopped red onion, 2 cloves of garlic, a red or green bell pepper that's been chopped. You need a, what size is that? 15.5-ounce can of black beans. Some cinnamon belongs over there with the spices. A 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. A little bit of olive oil and a whole mess of herbs and spices. There is basil, there's cumin, there's cayenne pepper, there's chili powder, celery salt, ground cloves, and I think that that's everything. And you need a crock pot, and of course this starts on the stove top, so we'll start it here in the pan. Okay, so we start out by putting some olive oil in the pan. It's probably a tablespoon or 2, I'd say. First we're just going to saute the onions and garlic, and while those are sauteing, I like to turn on my crock pot low, because I'm going to cook this on low, and then I put in the tomatoes and the beans to start. And you want to drain off most of the liquid from the beans, but you don't have to drain off all of it because it really is good tasting stuff. So give that a stir. Let that start heating up. And when those are starting to brown, then you can add your ground turkey and brown that up. I just like to push the onion and the garlic out of the way so that the turkey has more contact with the pan. Take that piece of paper out. Okay, I'm just going to chop this up. And while that's browning, we can measure out the spices. First, we need 2 tablespoons of chili powder, a teaspoon of celery salt, and a teaspoon of cumin, 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, 1/2 a teaspoon of basil, and a teaspoon of salt, just a sprinkle of cloves, little sprinkle of cinnamon, like 1/8 of a teaspoon. And then I always like a little grind of fresh pepper just to double up the peppers. Okay, so now that those are all together in, I don't know if you could see what I was doing with these, and I like to put these in with the meat instead of just right directly into the crock pot, because I think the heat in the pan helps the spices to release their flavors and gives it more of a complex flavor. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'm just going to chop this up a little finer. And then again, I make a little trough in the center of that. And just a little more olive oil. And then I throw in all those good spices. Smells so good. Okay, so that looks good and ready. So now into the crock pot goes red or green peppers, whichever you have, and our turkey meat all spiced up. Okay, and don't worry about all those lost spices in the pan, because we're just going to do a quick deglaze. In the tomato can there is a little drag of tomato goodness in there, so I will take a little bit of tap water and just swirl it around in that can to kind of get all the extra tomato off the inside of the can. Use that to deglaze the pan. Okay, I'm just going to take just a little bit more water, because this is a very thick chili right now, and it just needs a little water to loosen it up. Crank the heat right up, and then you just scrape up all the good brown bits from the bottom of the pan. And this is the stuff that really is great for flavoring just about everything that you cook. So I always deglaze the pan. You can do it with wine, you can do it with water, you can do it with chicken broth, whatever you like and whatever goes with your recipe. But this is where all the really super good flavors are, and it also helps you to clean your pan. There we go. So that all ends up in there. Let's give that a stir, and that's it. We put the lid on and we leave it on low. We're going to leave that to cook for 4 hours, and then it'll be ready to serve. Okay, so in about 4 hours the chili will be ready, and I will serve tzatziki with it in lieu of sour cream. But if you would like this recipe or any of my other recipes, please go to my blog. The link is below the show more info bar right below the video. And if you just go to the recipes tab, there are printable PDFs of all my recipes there. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the recipe. And as always, take care. Bye-bye.